Welcome back, guys. So this video has literally been 12 years in the making. This is going to be probably more than one video, probably 2 or 3, because in August 2024, I wanted to celebrate my 12 years in this country. And I want to tell you guys the positives and the negatives of living in this country, because a lot of you have probably thought about visiting Colombia, or perhaps you'd like to come here and work as a digital nomad, maybe come here and teach English, or perhaps you want to come here to retire. So I want to help you decide if this is the country for you. So I'm going to go through a list of all the positives and all the negatives. I'm going to be honest, but please be aware, these are not criticisms. I'm not trying to be nasty or talk negatively about Colombia, because overwhelmingly my opinions of Colombia are so positive. I love this country. To be here for 12 years is saying a lot, right? So I'm going to talk about the positives and negatives. These are not criticisms. These are just observations that I want to share with you. I'm going to be filming in quite a few different locations because, well, the weather is unpredictable. So let's begin with some of the positives. And number one would be the natural beauty of this country. Colombia is without a doubt one of the most stunning countries on the planet. It is absolutely beautiful. And I'm Australian, so, I come from a country that is known to be quite beautiful as well. But when I first came to Colombia, I was just blown away by the natural beauty here. It is something else. I've made lots of videos on my channel, which you can check through whenever you have time. You'll see a lot of my drone videos feature some of the most incredible scenery you will ever see in your life. And it's like that all over the country. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I think if you do love nature, you love landscapes, you're really going to enjoy this. But be aware that the weather does change drastically in short distances. We're going to talk about noise a bit later. But yeah, the weather can change quite drastically in a short distance. For example, I'm in Medellin with the average temperature of around 20 to 25 degrees Celsius per year. And I'll put that in Fahrenheit on the screen. If you travel just 1 hour to the north, an hour and a half to the north, you can be in weather that is like 10 degrees hotter. So it's pretty amazing. And if you go like 45 minutes to an hour up into the mountains, it can be 10 degrees cooler. So the weather can change drastically in a very short amount of time, but that is a good thing because you can find something for everyone. There are hot and tropical areas by the beach. The coastal areas are very hot, but if you prefer something a little cooler, you might enjoy the weather of Medellin. If you like cold weather, then you'll probably prefer somewhere like Bogota, which is much higher elevation. As I said, you'll find something for everyone when it comes to weather. Let's talk about another positive, and that is the food. I've made lots of videos about Colombian foods and snacks, which you can check here. Now, Colombian food may not be for everyone because some people prefer foods that are a little spicier or have more condiments, things like that. For others, the food is very satisfying. You may enjoy traditional Colombian food, and make sure you check out my videos. I'll go into more detail about those. In the major cities, you'll definitely find restaurants that have something for everyone, including international cuisine. So I wouldn't be concerned about the food. There's definitely something for everyone. Let's talk about one of the negatives. And that one would be the noise. If you're one of those people that really doesn't like noise, then you might not want to come and live in the cities here, because cities like Medellin and Bogota and the other major cities around the country can be very, very noisy. And talking about just day-to-day life, because many of the apartments don't have sound insulation. So what happens is that you can hear a lot of the noises that just come through from outside. So you'll hear motorbikes and cars and traffic and people talking and street sellers yelling things out. It happens all the time. Another thing is that for some reason, Colombians really, really, really love noise. And as I said, I'm not criticizing, I'm just telling you my observations. When there is a public holiday, special events, Christmas, New Year, fireworks can be going off literally 24 hours a day. And I mean, literally, even during the day, people set off fireworks. I don't know why, but it can be so noisy. You can hear music playing from people's houses a block away. Like it's noisy. On the weekends, there are times where you'll literally not get sleep because there's just so much noise. Fireworks, music, parties, but Colombians love to have a good time, and if you're young and you like to party, then you're gonna love it. But if you prefer the quiet, then you might want to look for a place that is perhaps out of the city, in an area that is perhaps more rural and a little quieter, to avoid those frustrations. Okay, let's talk about one of the other disadvantages, and that is cultural differences and the language barrier. If you cannot speak Spanish, you will have difficulties. If you can't speak at least basic Spanish, it's really hard to survive without Spanish. Of course, you can do it, but your options are going to be limited. You're going to have less opportunities to interact with the locals. So I really recommend taking the time. If you're planning to come to Colombia for a long period of time, take the time to learn the language. It's really going to pay off and you're really going to have a better experience in general. Now, there are actually good and bad things to this next point, and that is cultural differences. In general, I find Colombian people to be very welcoming and very kind and friendly and amazingly good people, which is why I've lived here for as long as I have. On the other end of the scale, like in every country in the world, you can find the best people in the world and you can find the worst. If you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if you happen to be doing the wrong thing, do not come to Colombia if you're thinking of doing the wrong thing, because we've had lots of reports recently that have been giving foreigners a really bad reputation, and rightly so. People here coming here and committing crimes and things like that. I'm not going to go into the details, but it's disappointing because it really upsets me that foreigners are coming here and giving ourselves a bad reputation. Well, the minority are giving the rest of us a bad reputation. But Colombians are still very kind people and very welcoming. And I believe, of course, if you're going to go to any country in the world, go there and behave respectfully. Respect the locals. It's their country and you are a visitor. You are a guest. So please behave your best, of course. When it comes to safety, I've kind of touched on this topic in other videos of mine, but as I said, people ask the question, is Colombia safe? And it's such a hard question to answer, but the truth is yes and no. It is not as dangerous as it was decades ago, maybe back in the 70s or 80s, but it's not perfectly safe either. And I think it's a case of, you know, a little bit of luck and being street smart, avoiding trouble, avoiding areas that you know are kind of a little bit dangerous. A lot of it just comes down to common sense, if that really exists. But just being street smart, and you know, I've been here for 12 years, nothing has happened to me. Fingers crossed that nothing never will. It could do, of course, but so far so good. I've been very lucky, and I'd put that down to being careful and maybe a little lucky. Colombia is getting safer and safer all the time, so don't worry about safety. I wouldn't let that be an issue, a point that's going to deter you from visiting this amazing country when it has so much to offer. It is an overwhelmingly amazing country, so don't miss out because of your fears of safety. Not worth it. Let's move on to the next location. So another pro would be the pet friendliness in this country. This is one that I just threw in thinking about it right now. Colombia, and in particular Medellin city, is extremely pet friendly. You can take your dogs to most shopping centers, even to some restaurants. Of course, you might have to sit in some pet friendly areas, but if you're a dog lover, you can bring your dog almost everywhere. It's amazing. Back to the main topic. Also, the expat community here in Medellin in particular, and I imagine all over Colombia, is really good. There's a lot of people from all over the world. Medellin is a really popular city for digital nomads. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider Colombia. It's a great place to work. It is more affordable than some other countries in Latin America. I think it's an amazing place for you to come and experience. Maybe come here for 3 to 6 months and give it a try. And you can get a digital nomad visa, which I'll link information to below. Be sure to join some of the expat community Facebook groups if you want to find out more about this amazing city. I'll link some of those below as well. Okay, now we're back inside because of one of the points I talked about earlier, the noise. I was outside filming and one of the people in the buildings started blaring their music out. It happens. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about next is something that is good and bad. Basically, you know, I've been living in Colombia since 2012. Now, at the time of making this video, that's 12 years. And I came to Colombia because I wanted to continue teaching after I'd been teaching in Japan for nearly 2 years. So I wanted to continue on with that. And I had an opportunity here in Colombia. And I thought, well, let's give it a try. And I basically knew nothing about Colombia, but I jumped on a plane and flew from Australia to here, which is a very long way. And basically from the second I arrived, I just thought, oh my God, this country is absolutely incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I remember my first time flying into Colombia and just looking out the window and thinking, oh my God, this is just stunning, unbelievable. And then when I arrived and met amazing people, started my work. My first job was teaching in a primary school and a high school, and it was really fun. Like I was never been so anxious in my life. It was one of my first time teaching large group classes, but it was really fun. And you know, I enjoyed it, and I just thought, wow, I'm here temporarily, but I need to extend my visa. I need to stay longer because I feel I need to learn more. I want to know more about this country and its history and its people and its culture and everything. And you know, it was hard at the beginning because I didn't know Spanish, but I wanted to learn Spanish as well, and I thought, you know, that's another thing on my bucket list. If you're coming as a tourist, obviously you're not expected to learn the language. That's a lot to learn, but if you're planning to come here long term, please take the time and learn the language. It's really going to help you out, number one. Basically, the reason I came to Colombia was to teach, but you know, I feel like when you're given a visa to a country, like a long-term visa for work, that's a pretty big deal, and that's a blessing, and you know, I feel that that's an honor. So from my opinion from day one is to always give back in any way I can, and that's what I felt from the moment I arrived, basically. And that's why I have been teaching for most of the last 12 years. I'm not teaching so much anymore, but I still occasionally teach. But I also have been wanting to give back in other ways, like to support animal shelters here, because that's something that's close to my heart and I really care about, and I wanted to support animal shelters here. And you can check out some of my videos about that on screen. Fireworks during the daytime, I told you. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I was not joking. And one of the other motivating factors for starting this channel was to also show the good side of Colombia, because everyone's heard something negative about Colombia, which is really unfortunate, but the history is what the history is and we can't change that. But I want to show what Colombia is today. I want to show what an incredible country it is and how beautiful the people are. And there's so many good things about this country that I wouldn't have time in 10 videos to talk about all of it, but I will have to make a part 2 and possibly a part 3, because I've got a lot more questions that I want to go through and a lot more topics that we need to discuss. But before that, I just want to say, yeah, the reason I'm still here is because I like giving back to Colombia. It's given me the opportunity to work here. The people have welcomed me, so I want to give back. Thank you to every Colombian that has welcomed me so far. Okay, one more thing. I did have a question, which I'm going to put on the screen, about what were my first impressions when I came to Colombia. And I kind of touched on it a second ago, but my first impressions when I flew in, I came from Sydney to Buenos Aires. Then I went from Buenos Aires in Argentina to Bogota, and flying up over the mountains during the daytime, flying up over the Andes mountains. Oh my God, it is the most beautiful sight I think I've seen in my life so far. It is just stunning. And flying into Bogota, I'd never seen a city like that, just surrounded by mountains. And it's just amazing as you're flying over all those countries and seeing snow-peaked mountains and things. It's incredible. So my first impressions were, wow, I've never seen such beauty. This country is just so stunning. And then I also thought, wow, the people are really, really nice and they're really friendly. And I think that's the thing about so many Colombians, is they know the reputation that Colombia has due to its history. But I think that's what makes the good people in Colombia even better, because I think they want to show that we're not all the same. Don't paint us all with that same brush, you know? And it's stereotyping, which is really unfortunate, but I think there's, as I said before as well, you'll find the best of the best people in this country. I'm sure you will if you look for them, but you could also find the worst of the worst if you're unlucky. So yeah, I found Colombian people to be incredible, which is why 12 years later, I'm still here and I'm still loving this country very, very much. My other first impressions, there were a couple of funny things. Like I remember, well, starting work was like one of the most extremely anxious moments of my life. I was almost having panic attacks because I hadn't taught group classes to that point. My experience was more one-to-one teaching in Japan. So yeah, I had to overcome my fears of teaching large group classes at schools. Just noticing little cultural differences, like some people have big voices and really loud, and it kind of took me off guard because it's not what I'm used to. But they're just little cultural differences, and I look back at them and I just think, look back with a smile and just laugh because they're funny. It was just eye-opening to just to discover different characteristics. And another really funny thing is gestures that Colombians use, which I'd never seen anywhere else in the world. Colombians can point with their mouth like like this. And there's these other gestures which I saw like this, which really scared me, but it means like robbers or thieves. You have to be aware. But there are these other gestures which really made me laugh. And if I can find some more information about that, I'll put that in the link. I'll link that in the video description as well, so you can read a bit more about it. It's pretty funny. So that's all for part 1. Thank you so much. There will be a part 2, I guarantee you. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button And thank you very much for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. And I've got some other special events coming up this year in Medellin, which you won't want to miss. So please hit subscribe, turn on the bell notifications so you'll be notified when I post a new video. I haven't been posting so many videos this year because I've got a lot of other things going on at the moment, but I hope to get back to a full-time posting schedule very soon. So with your support, I'll be able to do that. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.